Merkel Media.
What does the goddamn line say, Tony?
Please do not use gendered language.
Then what? I'll be arrested, put in airport jail?
Well, you're going completely sideways, man.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
How dare you?
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
I'm Chris Hansen with Daylight NBC.
Jack Marius Tack Theratrix.
Hi, I'm Spartacus.
Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. Steven Seagal.
Sex offender guy.
I'm Keith Morris.
This is Muammar Gaddafi.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Sorting through the lies.
The hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
And uncovering the centuries-long plan for world domination.
Learning about Cuba. Having some food.
Let's talk about Chinese people.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Swangles and Fort Lauderdale?
I have sent 6 of my Libyan missiles to blow up the Sears hardware department.
Nothing could be more fun than jumping off a cliff with 2 German bisexuals.
Oh, you English are so superior, aren't you?
Thank you, comrade.
And now, macroaggressions.
That's what assholes call it.
With your host,
Buddy, I don't know who you are, but you're about to get chlamydia.
Charlie Robinson.
Hey, Whitey, where's your hat?
You want to drop the blame on Charlie and say it's all Charlie's fault.
He was a retard.
I get some goddamn diuretic.
Welcome to Macroaggressions. I'm your host, Charlie Robinson. If you're watching us on Rockfin, Odyssey, Band.video, Vigilante.tv, or you're listening wherever podcasts are served, thanks so much. On the podcast player that you're listening to, you can scroll down a little bit and rate the show. It'll take you like 3 seconds. If you want to write a review, I certainly would appreciate that. I don't really care one way or the other, but the algorithm seems to care about this more so. So thanks to our sponsors. They make the show possible. Chemical Free Bodies has been with the show from the beginning. I drink Green 85 every single morning. I swear to God, I'm not lying. I really do. It's the best stuff for me. I don't get enough vegetables, so I drink Green 85. It takes me 4 minutes in the morning. It's so easy to do. I think that if you're somebody that wants to kind of take control of your health, maybe looking for some supplements, try to make yourself feel a little bit better, look, go over to chemicalfreebody.com and take a look. See what you think. They've got a lot going on there. There's a detox bundle that will work. I'm telling you right now from personal experience, it will lean you out. And if you want to get Green 85 and just have that every single day, you can get 6 packs of that. So get yourself sorted out. Go to chemicalfreebody.com and use the promo code MACRO to save yourself some money. And then also, let's not forget about our friends over at C60 Purple Power, Ken Schwartz and the crew over there. Boy, I'll tell you, it's people don't know about this stuff. They've never heard of C60 before. They don't know that the guys that invented it, or discovered it, I should say, won the Nobel Prize for it. It's like a big deal. It's the most powerful antioxidant known to man, like hundreds of times more powerful than anything else out there. It helps your cells work more efficiently. You'll produce more energy as a result of this. It helps take out the trash in your cells. Okay, so take a look. Go to shopc60.com. If it's the first time you're hearing of it, go just read up about it. It's fascinating stuff. And Ken, the scientist, has been on before. He's talked about how you make it. It's very complicated. It's not the cheapest stuff out there. So if you use the promo code MACRO, you'll save a little bit of money on your way out. So go to shopc60.com. You can find stuff for you. You can find stuff for your pets too. I give mine to my cat every morning. My cat lines up. She knows the drill. I don't force her. She loves it. So I don't know. One cat loves it. One cat is indifferent to it. But the one that loves it gets it every morning. So we're going to see. We're doing little double-blind science experiments on my cats, apparently. Shopc60.com, promo code MACRO. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease. And we have to say that. So, well, let's talk about the PayPal Mafia. Shall we? We shall. Because they are a pretty dangerous group of technocrats, and they've been around for a while. You might have heard the term before. It comes out of a photo that they took. I don't know if it was GQ. It was one of those. It seemed like it was kind of set for that. It was a photo that they got all the founders and all the high-ranking people together, and they were dressed like the Sopranos. And everyone except Elon Musk. I guess he wasn't there for the photo shoot. We'll get into that. We'll get into why he wasn't there for the photo shoot. But these are a group of people that have gone on to, after PayPal sold to eBay in 2002 for $1.5 billion in eBay stock, these guys went on to take this money that they had, and they didn't just go to Tahiti and live a peaceful life. They took it and started investing it in other companies. They started making companies, like starting their own companies, plenty of those, but they also started doing angel investing and beyond angel investing, health, starting full-blown venture capital firms as well. And I guess, look, that there's nothing wrong with any of this. If I had been in that space, I'm about the same age as these guys. I remember when all this was going down. If I had been in that space, somebody, you walk away with $100 million and you're 27 years old. Like, what are you going to do? Well, I could piss it away. I'm sure I could. Or, well, what are you going to do? If you're 27 and are you done with ideas? No, you've got a million ideas, right? So what these guys did was they got together. Some of them clicked up in groups and went out and started companies together. And some of them brought in outside people, but you'll see a lot of overlap. And this isn't really, again, it's not. There's nothing wrong with this, with being successful and starting a company like PayPal and making it into a household name. And it wasn't really a household name, but when eBay bought it, but you have an exit strategy, and the exit strategy for them was acquisition. And so, look, here's the reality of the situation. And I've been involved in startups before, and you get very close with the people. Okay. You work crazy hours, and and early on, not a lot of money. Okay. You have an idea. You want to bring it to fruition. It's going to take a lot of effort on your part. You got to build the right product. You got to always be raising money. It's constant, never ending. I know with my sports media company, we were always raising money for that. We were lucky that we had people close to us that had a bunch of money, and we tapped into them, which was great because that's how you do it. And so there's a never ending search for money. You're always trying to make the product better. You're always trying to bring new people in, and you get very close with the people. You go through a form of boot camp with them, right? You're all kind of there working insane hours. You have no social life. This is your social life. These people become your life. And so that's what happened with PayPal. And listen, if they just did nothing with the stock, if you were a founding member or you were somebody that had equity in PayPal and sold out to eBay, and your stock was converted to eBay stock, and then you literally did nothing and just sat on it, you would have 9x'd your money by then. So on a split adjusted basis, you would have been in at $5 a share, and it's trading at about $45 a share right now. Okay. So not bad. They, none of these people, I think, just left all their buyout in the form of eBay stock. You'd probably want to diversify a little bit, especially if you had aspirations for taking that money and doing something else with it. And of course, they don't know that money just by doing nothing is gonna multiply by 9. But listen, if you take that money and start a venture capital firm, you're going to multiply that money by 9,000. Okay, because it's crazy the amount of money that some of these guys have. What's ironic about this whole thing is that eBay, who I think at the time was run by Meg Whitman, They bought it in 2002 for $1.5 billion. They used it as a payment component. The reason why they bought it was because they wanted you to use it at eBay. They wanted you to have an alternative besides credit cards. And PayPal was that alternative. But what's ironic about it is that in 2015, they split the company apart. They got rid of PayPal. You can't use it at eBay anymore, which is really kind of weird. But it's no longer an option there. So now let's talk a little bit about what PayPal is now. PayPal right now is a woke pile of horseshit. Okay, that's constantly trying to ban people from using their services. They tried to fine users $2,500 if they went against its, I'd say, very subjective definition of what misinformation was during COVID. Again, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a couple of months ago, PayPal said that they were going to fine you $2,500, and they were going to take it, like out of your account if they disagreed with what you said online or on a podcast or whatever. So they want to, pay themselves. Essentially, they were going to take money. It's one thing if somebody says, like, I'm going to write you a ticket and I'm going to fine you and you're going to have to pay me, and you go, good luck, man, I'll never pay that. Remember, PayPal is connected to your bank account. Okay. So you may say, oh, that's a fine I'm never going to pay. Or somebody says, well, I'm going to, the local dry cleaners is like, oh, I'm going to give you a fine for this. You go, okay, I'll take my business somewhere else. Fuck off. I'm never paying you anything. But PayPal has your bank account information. They're connected to it. Okay. Your money goes in and out of your bank account through PayPal all the time. Okay. So, it's crazy to me that they would pretend that somehow they're the victim. PayPal's the victim. So they need to take $2,500 from me. Now, to be clear, they didn't do it to me. They haven't done it to me. Not yet. But if they get on, listen, if what they're talking about is misinformation, air quotes, misinformation, what does that mean? Information that's just not ready for you to accept it yet? Like COVID is the flu and the vaccines are dangerous and masks don't work? You mean the stuff that we've been saying from the beginning that now is acceptable, but 2 years ago you couldn't say it, right? So is that misinformation? Because they would have designated it misinformation back then. It was true back then. It's true now, but they would have designated it as misinformation then, but not now, right? You see how that works? It's changing. I didn't change. I didn't change my stance at all. And I didn't change the fact that I'm going to continue to speak out about this, regardless of what PayPal seems to think. PayPal wants you, hey, you just got an email. PayPal wants you to shut up. What? Huh? Who? My mom wants me to, if my mom called and said, I need you to stop talking about this, it'd be a different conversation. Oh, PayPal's on the phone. They'd like for you to stop talking about this. Take a message. You know what I mean? So this is fucking lunacy, of course. I mean, it's crazy. But again, CEO of PayPal, Dan Schulman, is a member of the World Economic Forum. So are you really that surprised? Probably not. Now, look, I want to be clear. The group that is running PayPal's authoritarian censorship program currently has almost no connection to this PayPal Mafia that we're going to talk about, except maybe like the company name. Like that might be the only common denominator here. We're a full 2 decades past when this transaction, the sale of PayPal to eBay happened. So I'm not trying to say that the PayPal Mafia has anything to do with the PayPal censorship now. I'm just pointing out that in its current incarnation, PayPal right now is a flaming pile of shit, but that's their own doing. It's not like it's not like they just decided that they screwed up their code or whatever. This is an ideological battle. And since they are in bed with the ADL and all these groups, I mean, you shouldn't be too surprised. And this is what they do when they're desperate to control the narrative, because the narrative is filled with lies. You have to constantly defend the lies. And part of the way you defend the lies is you don't allow somebody to question it. You don't allow somebody to talk about what a lie it is. And PayPal knows that the narrative is a lie. They know that because their CEO is a member of the World Economic Forum. So he knows the game plan. He knows what's going on. He's on Team COVID. And if you get on the wrong side of him, he wants to take $2,500 out of your bank account because he was victimized, I guess. It's very weird to me. It's very weird. Well, let's see. Let's get into this, okay? So let's talk a little bit about who the Mafia is, okay? Because some of the names you're going to be like, oh my God, I know who that guy is. And some of them won't really ring a bell. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to list them out, identify them by name. I'm going to talk about the companies that they've formed or financed. Not all of them, because that would take too long, because some of these guys have started venture capital funds, and those firms have put money into hundreds of companies. So I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to mention the ones that you would recognize. And then we're just going to kind of go through them. We're just going to go through the bigwigs, the guys that you would know. The guys that you don't know, the names, I won't spend too much time on them. But there's some big ones. There's some big names on in this list, man. I'm telling you, you're going to be like, holy shit. Okay, when I say this is a group that is connected, it's not just the people, it's the companies that they've started after PayPal, and the things that those companies have done that you might not even have any sort of, you might not even think, you don't associate YouTube with PayPal, you associate it with Google because Google bought it. But did you know that the guys that founded YouTube are all PayPal Mafia? Okay, so let's start with this. And this is in no particular order, although the first two off the list are going to ring a bell. Number one on this list, we'll just call, again, no order, but Peter Thiel. Okay, you may know him. We're going to get into detail on Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel. Number two, Elon Musk. Number three, Max Levchin. Number four, Reid Hoffman. Jared Karim. David O. Sachs. Luke Nosek, Andrew McCormick, Ken Howery, Chad Hurley, Jeremy Stoppelman, Steve Chen, Roelof Botha, Russell Simmons, not that one, Scott Bannister, Dave McClure, Keith Rabois, Yashin Wong, and Jason Portnoy. Now, I'd say probably half the names on this list you probably haven't heard before. Maybe not. But let's talk a little bit about the companies that these guys have formed or financed over the years. And then you tell me what you think about where this is going. Because a lot of these companies are pretty sketchy, if I'm being honest. Pretty powerful, definitely important, but pretty sketchy. And considering that just about all of the guys on this list now have I'm not saying that back then they had ties, but now they almost all have ties to the intelligence agencies, the globalists, NGOs, and think tanks. I mean, chicken and the egg, right? I think that these guys built up PayPal. They started to get really famous, really popular and powerful, and started to influence a lot of people. And then the globalist component and the intelligence agencies came looking for them at some point. I think some of the guys were intelligence to begin with, had always been, and that was part of the plan for some of the companies that they're involved. Like Peter Thiel's intelligence, 100%. But is Dave McClure? Maybe. I don't know. So let's talk about the companies that they've formed or financed. Facebook, Twitter, Tesla, Stripe, SpaceX, Quora, LinkedIn, Airbnb, YouTube, Palantir, Square, Twilio, Wish, House, Eventbrite, Lyft, Uber, Founders Fund, Udemy, Khosla, Postmates, OpenAI, Yammer, ZocDoc, Pinterest, Joyent, Solar City, Affirm, Clarion Capital, Avant, 21 Inc., Starlink, Valor Ventures, Boring Company, and 500 Startups. 500 Startups is not 500. I don't mean 500 different startups. It's called 500 Startups. It's a venture capital fund. So what do you think? All of social media was created by these guys. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Well, Instagram and WhatsApp. Kevin Styron started Instagram. He's not part of the Mafia, but it's now owned by Facebook. The guys that started WhatsApp sold it for $17 billion to Facebook. So again, these guys on the list didn't start those groups, but Peter Thiel put 10%. He purchased 10% of Facebook for $500,000 in the seed fund, and so he owned. He wound up selling out for $1 billion of Facebook. And then Facebook used that to go buy, WhatsApp from Jan Koum and buy Instagram from Kevin Styron and get these deals. So it's Facebook, but it's these guys were involved before it became Meta for sure. So Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and Yammer and LinkedIn. I mean, that's a lot of social media. That's a whole lot. And again, like sort of connected to this, when you go on and you start to look at Elon Musk owns Twitter now, but Jack Dorsey started it with a couple of guys, and this is part of the Mafia. So he's Mafia adjacent, I guess would probably be a good way of putting it. But both the rideshare companies, Uber and Lyft, are there. These guys started that. Or financed it. The house share, Airbnb, shared economy, huh? Interesting. They're all, and what you'll find, and as we go through this list, is as we sort of pick these people apart one by one, a lot of young global leaders, a lot of World Economic Forum young global leaders, which is an interesting philosophy. You'll own nothing and be happy, as these guys were involved in financing and starting the companies that really pioneered the sharing process, the Uber, Lyft, and Airbnb. So CIA spy shit companies, well, these guys are all over that. SpaceX, CIA, Palantir, DOD, OpenAI, Eric Schmidt's AI company, AI Pentagon. So all of these have ties to the surveillance state. And then there's also the biggest video platform in the world, which also happens to be the second most popular search engine in the world, and that is YouTube. So let's break this down, shall we? Let's start with the Mafia Don, right? Since this is the PayPal Mafia, since they did that whole photo shoot, let's start with the Mafia Don. That'd be Peter Thiel. Okay. It's tempting to start with Elon Musk because he's got more money than Peter, but let's just be honest here. Peter could have Elon killed in a second, okay? And that's how I do my rankings. Who's more dangerous? Peter Thiel is fucking dangerous, okay? He's got $10 billion of net worth. He's a New Zealand citizen now. I mentioned he bought 10% of Facebook for $500,000. That's a hell of a deal. He is an enthusiastic Bilderberg member. He's on the Bilderberg Steering Committee, which is the group that the Wallenbergs are on too. So we talked about them before. This is a group that picks the people that come to Bilderberg. So again, Peter Thiel is out there in front of the hottest nightclub in the world with his clipboard and headphone, and you're going there. He's going, you're not on the list. You're not on the list. But if you want to be on the list, this is the guy to know to get on the list. And he's he's Stanford University, Stanford Law School, venture capitalist. He after this, he went on to start Clarion Capital, which is a hedge fund. And he is one of the actual co-founders of PayPal. He started it with two guys. He started it with Max Levchin and Luke Nosek. later Elon Musk wound up coming in. We're going to get to Elon in a second. So people, kind of confused, like, he's PayPal Mafia. Did he start PayPal? No, he actually started X.com, and that got merged into PayPal, and then PayPal got bought by eBay. So, but we'll get to him in a minute. But he started Palantir. We're back to Peter Thiel. He started Palantir with Alex Karp. This is like, I think they get 97% of their revenue from the DoD. They're just an extension of the intelligence agencies. They're a data harvesting, data collecting, data sifting management. When the NSA and these groups suck up all of this information, it's got to go somewhere and it's got to get filtered out. You got to get rid of all the good, get rid of the bad stuff. Try to collect as much of the good stuff as you can, sift through it at a future time, maybe archive it, store it for later. But Palantir helps with that. They're very involved in the DoD. They're involved in the military state. That's kind of what they do. He also started Founders Fund with Ken Howery and Luke Nosek of PayPal. So Founders Fund is investing in they're a venture capital fund. So he's got a hedge fund with Clarion Capital. He's got a VC firm with Founders Fund. He's got Palantir. He's got Ambrosia, which is a company that's fucking taking blood from young people and repackaging it and making it available to rich people that are dying. You think I'm kidding? Go type in Peter Thiel Ambrosia and see what you find. Okay. You'll be horrified. He's the co-founder of Valor Ventures. He's an interesting dude in that he's a conservative gay libertarian that wants a new world order. So, I bet his shrink has voluminous data on this guy. I bet he's working through some issues. To be a conservative gay libertarian that wants to enslave humanity, I don't know. Libertarian and New World Order don't really go well together in my book. I don't know. I could be wrong. If you recall, though, Gawker, you remember that online, gossip, electronic magazine, I guess. I don't know. I don't know that it was actually ever a physical magazine, but Gawker outed him as being gay, which is not a big deal, I don't think. I don't think he wanted it out there, but in this day and age, it's like, really, like, who cares? But it mattered to him. I think it just sort of, which is ironic, because the guy that runs Palantir, which is spying on everybody, doesn't like being spied on himself, doesn't like his personal information being thrown out there into the general public as he's collecting all of our personal information and selling it to God knows who. So Gawker outed him as gay. So what he did was that Hulk Hogan was in a lawsuit against Gawker but didn't really have the money to fight it. So Peter Thiel came in and said, I'll back you, Hulk Hogan, on your lawsuit against Gawker. And he did, and it wound up bankrupting Gawker and the owner of Gawker too, personally. Personal bankruptcy for the company and personal bankruptcy, or bankruptcy for the company and personal bankruptcy for the owner, which is fucking savage. He got a $140 million verdict against Gawker. Okay. So it was like, they really went after him. He put him out of business. So again, like, maybe don't get on the wrong side of Peter Thiel. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll either sue you or he could have the DOD like make you disappear. Not saying he has, I'm just saying he has. Just kidding. He worked as a lawyer at the deep state connected law firm Sullivan and Cromwell. Even people that are like casually interested in this sort of stuff is like, Sullivan and Cromwell, where have I heard that before? Well, you've heard it before because it's like a Washington, D.C. law firm that like everybody that's powerful uses when they want to get around the law. So let's talk about Palantir for a second. It's easily one of the scariest companies in the world. No kidding. No exaggeration. It is terrifying. The things that they know about people and the things that what they do. And of course, most of it is kind of under wraps. It's big data for the government. So it's like, what does that mean? Well, it's classified. You're like, okay. So it's got a $31 billion market cap. So it's a big company. Okay. This is a big one. It's InQtel financed them. So think of it like this. Peter Thiel leaves PayPal and eBay and goes and just starts a bunch of stuff, Clarion Capital and Founders Fund. And when it comes to Palantir, he's raising money for it. And he goes where, keep in mind, this is a guy that invested in Facebook, otherwise known as LifeLog, otherwise known as developed by the CIA, financed by InQtel, the CIA's friend. So who did Peter Thiel go to raise money for to start Palantir? He went to InQtel, the venture capital arm of the CIA. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? He just got done with the Facebook deal, where Facebook came out of the CIA. He worked at Sullivan and Cromwell, which is a deep state connected law firm. He went to Stanford, for fuck's sake. Okay. He's in it. And one of the things that you notice with a lot of these really rich guys, and I think non-super rich people always scratch their head. They go, well, you're starting a company. Why do you go raise money from other people? You got all the money. Why don't you just put your money into it? Because super duper rich people don't use their own money to finance stuff like this. They use other people's money. So he could have started Palantir with all the money he made from PayPal, but he didn't. He went to InQtel and got money from them instead, and others. So Palantir is currently working with only 12 different U.S. government agencies. That's all. Just 12 of them. Right. I think there's like 17. Not working with the Department of Education. Well, maybe not yet. Founders Fund. Okay. He started Founders Fund with Ken Howery and Luke Nosek. These are guys from PayPal that he knew. Interesting thing that Founders Fund did in 2017. They went out and bought themselves $20 million worth of Bitcoin, which I thought was interesting. Peter Thiel is a Bitcoin guy. Founders Fund also went out and invested in some of their buddies' companies that were coming up on, Airbnb, LinkedIn, Spotify, SpaceX, Quora, Stripe, and a ton of lesser known tech startups. Okay. Peter Thiel's interesting. There's some things about him I like. I got to be honest. There's some things about him I like, and then there's some things about him that are just automatic disqualifications. Like 97% of your revenue coming from the DoD, that's an automatic disqualification in my book. But he hates Google, and he supported Ron Paul. So it's like, okay, like I hate Google and I support Ron Paul. Like, talk to me. And then, you find out that he's kind of a deep state guy, and you go, oh shit, that's not good. So he's got a thing called Peter Thiel or Thiel Fellowship, and this is quick college for 20 kids. You got to be under 23 years of age. He'll give you $100,000 each, and this is like incubator type money, $100,000, quick college, and do something better. I like that too. I do. I got to be honest. I like the idea of somebody recognizing when some kids college isn't for them. They're super smart. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's not a lack of ambition. It's just that college sucks. And these guys, you can't do while you're in college. And these guys want to do. Like, let's do. I don't want to talk about it. I want to do it. So let me out of college and let's go. Peter Thiel's ex-boyfriend killed himself earlier this year. Thoughts and prayers. That sucks. I don't know what to make of that, but that's just an interesting little tidbit. I don't want to speculate, but so I won't. Let's move on. Let's move on to let's say, well, if If Peter Thiel was the Mafia Don, then I don't know, this guy might be like the granddaddy of them all. Elon Musk, okay? Elon Musk, on any given day, his net worth fluctuates, as you understand, upwards of $210 billion net worth through holdings in Tesla, SpaceX, X/Twitter, Starlink, OpenAI, Zip2, his money that he made from PayPal/X.com, Solar City, Neuralink, Boring Company. Okay. He's in it. He's got X steganography everywhere. Go listen to Dark Journalist and listen to his 130-part series on X steganography. That'll blow your mind. And yes, I said 130-part series on it. And I think I've watched almost all of them. When you start to understand the significance and the symbology around the X, you start to see, well, he had X.com that wound up getting folded into PayPal, which then became eBay. He took Twitter, renamed it X. He's got SpaceX. Okay. There's a lot going on here. This is symbolic. There's messages tied to this. There's a group, there's a lot surrounding the letter X, and it goes deep. And if you want to be dismissive of that, I understand, because when you start to get into the esoteric components of this, you go, what does that have to do with business? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It seems like it's kind of disconnected. It seems like if you're the guy who's running businesses, like, why would you really care too much about that? I don't know. It matters to them, though. So we pay attention to it. So he's got transhumanism leanings, and I don't love that, And he's of the belief, like, this sort of backwards way of thinking, like, the only way to beat transhumanism is to be transhuman. It's like, well, before they put the bad chip in your brain, let's put the good chip in your brain. And it's like, how about no chips in my brain? How about that? So I don't love the transhumanism stuff. I don't like Elon Musk. I don't think he's a straight shooter. I think he's a bullshitter. I think I like him fucking with the right people. I mean, I like him suing the ADL. They deserve it. And everything he said about them is right on. So I get flashes with him that I like, much like with Peter Thiel. Like, I'm into Bitcoin and fuck Google and I like Ron Paul. It's like, you want to speak at an Acapulco? And then it's like, and then I work for the Department of Defense. It's like, all right, never mind. but same with Elon, so you catch him, but it also always kind of feels like good cop, bad cop, like with the Linda Yak stuff, who the new CEO, who she came in and gave a tongue bath to the ADL and talked about how great they were and how she's going to, how we're going to strengthen our resolve to fight anti-Semitism online and all that fucking nonsense. And then Elon Musk is like, ADL's horrible. And so you're like, yay, finally someone's saying it, besides me, I put it in my first book. I was early, Elon. You can read my first book, The Octopus of Global Control. I did a whole section on the ADL. They're terrible. So, you hear from time to time, you go, oh, this is great, and he stands up for, we're going to be a free speech platform, or I'm going to fire all these people, or, whatever. And so you get these flashes where you kind of want to believe him. And then I go, well, go back to the brain chips, and you go, oh yeah, there's brain chips. Yeah. Fuck that. We're not participating in that. So, and look, let's be honest, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, is being turned into America's version of the Chinese WeChat. And that's not a good thing either. The everything app, we want the everything app. Well, whenever you want to have the everything app or the everything whatever, you wind up by default centralizing. And when you centralize, then that's a problem. The reason why people appreciate the concept of Bitcoin is because it's decentralized. It's that, it's whack-a-mole. You want to try and stop it here, but it pops up over there. And so when you've got an app like X at Twitter and they say, we want to make it the everything app, you go, that sounds good. At the first time you hear it, you go, oh, it's going to be great. I can video call. I can send messages. I can social media. I can buy things. I can, this is all going to be in one place. This is great. It's great until they turn it off and you've based your life around it. You've reconfigured your entire well-being around expecting that you're going to be able to use this app to do all the things that you need to do on your daily basis. And then you get on the wrong side of the government and they switch it off, or you get on the wrong side, or you call somebody an asshole on Twitter one too many times, me, and then you get kicked off. Or you jokingly suggest, when are we going to throw Bill Gates into a volcano? And they throw you off for that, which happened to me back in 2020. So, this is where we're going with Elon. You've got, the everything app biometric collection is coming. That's again, automatic disqualification. If you're running Twitter and you say, yeah, we've got all these bots on here and they're bad. Bots are bad, right? So we're gonna do verification where we scan your butthole and then we know it's you and then we put you on. You go, no, you're not. We're not doing that. We're not. You want more censorship and you want biometric collection in order for me to use Twitter. I am not participating in that. And I think that would be the end of Twitter, to be honest with you. I think you would see so many people leave that they would just, and if you didn't leave, it'd be like, do I really want to talk to the people that are that think it's fine to put their biometric, give their biometric information to Elon fucking Musk? Are you crazy? So that's not going to work. Bill Gates is not a fan of Elon, which again, here I go back to the flashes. It's like, well, that's good. The guy that's trying to destroy humanity hates Elon Musk. Like that's a vote of confidence for him again. Right. But I said I would mention why Elon wasn't in the PayPal Mafia photograph. And the reason is because he did not have a good relationship with those guys, especially Peter Thiel. They kicked him out. He left on bad terms. They kicked him out for wanting to ditch Unix and go to Microsoft. He wanted to go to Microsoft and they all wanted to stay on Unix. And there was like a revolt there. And I'm not a programmer and I don't really know the ins and outs of why that matters so much. I know there's a difference. I just don't know why it was too much. And they just said, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're going to do it our way. And so he basically lost the power struggle to Peter Thiel. And he got his money when they sold out and everything like that. But he was not necessarily on the best terms with some of the guys. I shouldn't say all of them, but some of them. Elon Musk is a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader as of 2008. That'll be a theme running through almost all of these guys. It's not good, but it's also not surprising. He's taken a lot of money from a guy named Mike Griffin over at In-Q-Tel. He took money for SpaceX. Then from Mike Griffin at In-Q-Tel, and then Griffin left and went to run NASA and gave SpaceX a $400 million contract, a contract that later became a $3 billion contract with NASA. And that saved SpaceX. If they hadn't gotten this deal done, then SpaceX was out of money and they would have been done. They would have been cut out of the deal with NASA and it would have been the end of them. The reason why it got approved was it got approved because of Mike Griffin, and it got approved for SpaceX because of Mike Griffin's relationship with Elon Musk from back when he was at In-Q-Tel financing him. So Mike Griffin gives Elon money to start SpaceX. Then he leaves and goes over to NASA. And then when he's at NASA, he then gives Elon money for the SpaceX contract, which I guess that's just business. Pays to know people, right? Anyway, Elon's grandfather led the South African technocracy movement. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just the thing. It's just something, we do have questions about his family, of course. We do. I'm not going to. This isn't going to be a full Elon Musk episode, so we'll sort of leave it at there. But like, he's a member of the Deep State Techno Club. it's called 21st Century Council. And that's basically like CIA, World Economic Forum, Silicon Valley guys, Elon Musk, they're all parts of this this group called 21st Century Council, where they're sort of like looking forward. NGOs, it's how that goes. Never good, always a little bit on the sketchy side. Let's move on past our good friend Elon, that definitely didn't wear a jacket to the Met Gala that said New World Order on the back or anything. That would be too obvious. Of course, I'm kidding. He did. Oh, boy. And, there's those pictures of him with Ghislaine Maxwell. There's pictures of him with Maria Abramovich. I get it. You go to these social gatherings. You don't know necessarily who's standing next to you. You have some Satanist artists standing next to you. You take a picture with them. Maybe you're not into that. Maybe you are. I don't know. Here's the thing. When you wear a jacket that says New World Order, you kind of get what you get. Okay. So you don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore with that. When they go, hey, do you think he's Team Satan or do you think he's not Team Satan? You go, I'm putting him in Team Satan until I hear otherwise. Speaking of Team Satan, let's move on to Reid Hoffman. He's got about $2.5 billion, which is piss compared to Elon Musk's $210 billion. But don't fool yourself. Reid Hoffman is a player, bitch. I thought you knew. This is a guy. He's involved in Bilderberg, World Economic Forum, Council on Foreign Relations. He was awarded the Commander of the Order of the British Empire. I don't know what that is, but it sounds pompous and pretentious, and I'm sure he probably loved it. He's part of that giving pledge scam. He's one of those participants where it's like, I'm just going to give all my money away because it's such a burden on me. No, it's a tax shelter. You guys, come on, guys. We know what's going on. But when he was at PayPal, he was the COO, Chief Operating Officer. So he was in it. He founded LinkedIn after that. He is a partner at Greylock Partners, which is a venture capital firm. For those of you that are interested in sort of taking this, I'd say a good episode, if I were pairing this episode with another episode, The Creature from Sand Hill Road, I did about 2 years ago, which is obviously a nod to The Creature from Jekyll Island, where I was thinking about the concept of where fake money comes from, like, well, real money that's sort of artificially created and used, and Jekyll Island is where the founding of the Federal Reserve took place, but Sand Hill Road is a very well-known street in the Bay Area where Palo Alto, in that area, where all the venture capital firms are. They just are. That's just where they're based. It's like you go down this street and you just see one after another. So if you go back and you find that episode, The Creature from Sand Hill Road, then you'll understand a little bit more about like what Greylock Partners is that Reid Hoffman is a partner of and what they're into. I mean, the short answer is that these guys are all World Economic Forum connected, and that there's a lot of overlap between that group. There's a lot of Aspen Institute people in there. There's a lot of Council on Foreign Relations people in there. There's a lot of CIA. So you get into, listen, you can finance companies through In-Q-Tel if you're the CIA, or you can finance companies by getting involved with some of these VC firms in the Bay Area, and that's of course what they've done. So when you come across Greylock Partners and your venture, and that's what Reid Hoffman's been working on, and you go, is this a good venture capital firm or a bad one? You go, well, Reid Hoffman's a partner. And I say, all right, well, still good or bad? Well, he's also a member of Bilderberg, World Economic Forum, and CFR. And you go, oh, gotcha. Okay, bad. Yeah. All right. So be careful of this. He's he's on the board of directors of Microsoft and Zynga. He's on the Defense Initiative Board, which is DOD. Okay. He is an AI funder. He is a funder of this technology. He's a deep state technocrat. Okay. So he's always been somebody that you got to keep an eye on. He's kind of out of the spotlight a lot because he's not in the Bay Area. He's in Seattle now, but he's he's one to watch. He's definitely a dangerous guy, I would say. I mean, there are guys out there that are worse than him, but really, Bilderberg, World Economic Forum, CFR, done. Done for me. Let's move on to Max Levchin. This is a name that you probably don't know, but this dude is way connected. He's worth about $3 billion, which after you hear all the companies he's involved in, you'd think he was, you think it's a little low, to be honest with you. He's the co-founder of PayPal. He's not just PayPal Mafia, but he is one of the guys that founded this with Peter Thiel. He is the founder of Slide. He is the largest shareholder of Yelp. He is one of the largest investors in Evernote. He is on the board of directors of Yahoo, and he is most definitely in favor of NSA surveillance. He's been on the record talking about how he thinks that's a great thing. It's not, but when you're a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, 2011, then, you probably do think that the NSA surveillance is stunning and brave. He's also the founder of a company called HVF, which stands for Hard Valuable Fun. I don't even know. I don't even know. And this HVF company has spun, you go, what is this? Is this anything? Well, they're known for two things. One is Affirm, which is a credit network. And the second is Glow, a fertility app that a lot of people have probably heard of before. A lot of people that are trying to get pregnant have probably heard of this. And this Glow Fertility was started by a company, the HVF, and Max Levchin founded that. This company, HVF, that you've never heard of before, is worth $2.5 billion. Okay. And he founded that. So when I say his $3 billion estimate seems low, that's why, because I would have thought that, I don't know, maybe if Yelp was better, that could have been something for him. But Evernote is well known. Board of directors for Yahoo. Yahoo's kind of in the toilet these days, but this dude's connected and he's a talent. He's a tech guy. He's one of those programmer guys that knows how to get shit done. Obviously knows how to start companies as well. That's another thing with these guys. These guys aren't just, the guys that are down in the basement coding all night long on a Mountain Dew bender. These guys actually also know how to talk to people about raising money and growing the business. So it's one thing if you're just a hardcore tech nerd who can hack and write great code. It's another thing if you can do that and raise money and you don't, embarrass yourself by looking like a tech nerd that doesn't know how to interact with human beings. These guys are really social. They're really connected and super bright. Nobody's going to accuse the PayPal Mafia of getting lucky. They made this happen. And they continue to make it happen because the companies that they start are, part of what they bring is money to it, but part of what they bring is a Rolodex, right? They've got contacts. You start this company, you start a company, you need to have a vision. You need to know how to get people to come and work for you because the people that you want to work for you are currently working for somebody else. So you need to be able to schmooze them and say, hey, listen, man, fuck that place where you are right now. They don't even value you. We're doing something transformative over here. I'll get you equity. I'm talking about equity. I'm talking about, we've got Founders Fund backing us up with money. I've got this guy coming on. I've got that guy coming on. We're connected here. So that's what these guys do. These guys, you say what you want about them. They're the most connected people in the tech world. They are the most powerful. They are the mafia of this. And some of the things that they have created, it's like Frankenstein. It's like Frankenstein's monster. But you build it, you think you know what you're building, you unleash it on the world, and it just destroys the place. Let's move on to the guys that started YouTube. That's what I'm talking about. Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, Jawed Karim. They founded YouTube I mean, this is crazy to me. They founded YouTube in 2005. They sold it to Google in 2006 for $1.65 billion. Okay. It was 1 year. They turned YouTube into $1.65 billion in 365 days, which is crazy to me. Chad Hurley walked away his stake in this for a year of working on YouTube. And let me be fair. I mean, it wasn't like in 2006, all the work ended, he still kind of was brought on to run it, but building it up to a point where you can sell it off for $1.6 billion, he put $345 million into his pocket in a year. Ooh. Of Google stock. Now, I went back, I'll have you know, that I went back and I took a look at where the stock was when Chad, Steve, and Jawed sold it to Google, and then looked at where it is now. If they, again, back to kind of like what I said with the PayPal guys just sitting on eBay stock, if they sat on it, it was going to 9x. These guys, Chad Hurley and Steve Chen, they had already sold out with PayPal and made this money. And then they sold out again to Google. At the time of their sale to Google, and I'm going to adjust this for splits, to make it apples and apples, they would have been given Google stock valued at around $12 a share back then, and adjusted for everything, it's $129 a share. So 10x. If they chose to do nothing with their Google, if Chad Hurley said $345 million in Google stock, I don't even need to touch it. I got all this money from my eBay, PayPal eBay sale. Fuck, I don't even need to touch it. He just let his $345 million sit there, be worth $3.5 billion by now. So Steve Chen, he walked away with $326 million. Jawed Karim, $326 million, which he then used to invest in Palantir and Reddit and Eventbrite as an investor. So these guys aren't just hitting gold on PayPal. They're then starting other companies and selling out and striking gold on those, and then taking the money from that and investing in other companies and striking it rich on those as well. So like, if you're talking about this guy, Jawed Karim, he is PayPal Mafia, starts YouTube with these guys. So he gets Google money, then goes and finances Palantir, finances Reddit, and finances Eventbrite. And God knows what else he's been doing behind the Chad Hurley, by the way, the first guy I mentioned, he's sort of known as the face of YouTube. He's a minority owner of the Golden State Warriors basketball team now as well. And so then after they did this, after they started YouTube and sold it out to Google and got bored and they decided, what are we going to do? Well, Chad and Steve, the two of the guys, left and started a company called Avos, AVOS, also known as Mixbit. That was in 2013, and that's a video sharing service. When I was reading up on them, they said that they wanted to do this video sharing service before they did YouTube, but things happened and the YouTube thing just wound up getting pushed to the front of the line, it being a priority, and it all worked. The third member I mentioned, Jawed Karim, he went off with Keith Rabwa, one of the other PayPal Mafia guys, and started a venture capital firm called Y Ventures. So they're deep in it. Moving on, Ken Howry. Ken Howry is worth about $1.5 billion. He is a 2012 World Economic Forum Young Global Leader. If you've noticed the theme here, he is this selection committee for the World Economic Forum Technology Partners. Co-founded PayPal. He was the guy that co-founded it with Max Levchin and Peter Thiel. He was the CFO of PayPal. He then became the director of corporate development at eBay. He was the United States ambassador to Sweden under Donald Trump. He started Founders Fund with Peter Thiel and Luke Nosek, and they currently have $3 billion under management there. So, you know what's interesting about this is that some of the guys from this PayPal mafia are like kind of Republican, kind of like right-leaning. They aren't lefties, which is weird. You would think. I mean, Ken Howery was tied to Trump, and Peter Thiel is a libertarian who's not, he's not Trump, but he's kind of conservative leaning, which is, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it, of course. I mean, in fact, I think it's better, but it's just surprising a little bit, because I just assume that these guys are all kind of drinking the Kool-Aid, the leftism Kool-Aid there in the Bay Area. And, you got to say the right thing and have the right pronouns and all that stuff. I don't know. Maybe I would, when you got $1.5 billion, nobody can tell you what pronouns to use. You know what I mean? But this guy's connected, man. So you've got World Economic Forum, this Ken Howery, World Economic Forum, PayPal, U.S. ambassadorship, and then a co-founder of Founders Fund, which is, big player. Again, $3 billion under management with Founders Fund, but you're getting access to corporations at a very early stage, so you can have a say in them as well. Part of what these guys want when they raise money from venture capital firms is money, but it's not just money. They want smart money. There's the term smart money. It's the money that comes with connections attached to it. You can get it from a bank and they just, but if you get money from somebody who's in your industry and knows everybody that you need to know, that's smart money. That's money that really works. And again, if you've got the smart money guys investing in you, then they now have a vested interest in making sure that you do well, as opposed to like a bank who's just like, give us our money back. That's all we want. But if Peter Thiel's coming in, or Ken Howery's coming in, or Luke Nosek's coming in, and they're financing you with Founders Fund, and you're taking their money, you don't just get the money, you get their connections, you get their network. And that's what's definitely happening with a lot of these guys, is that they know everybody. And more importantly, everybody knows them. Right. Let's move on. Jeremy Stoppelman. You might have heard of him before, because first of all, he came over. He was in the PayPal mafia via X.com. So he's an Elon Musk ally in this thing. He was the VP of engineering at X.com. X.com was a banking app. It got folded into PayPal. And then, so I don't really know, once it's in PayPal, I don't know how much of that is X and how much of that is the PayPal, but it doesn't really matter, because they all became one. He then left and started Yelp with Max Levchin's money. And that's why he's not the number one shareholder of Yelp. That's why Max Levchin is because he put in all the money. But Yelp has a $4 billion market cap, so it's quite a bit, it's worth quite a bit. And Jeremy Stoppelman has 11% ownership of that. So quite a bit, it's a couple $100 million. I think they said his estimated net worth is about $350 million plus. So if you've got 11% of a $4 billion company, then you're sitting on 440 right there. So he's got to be close to $500 million. But anyway, that's just a name that you kind of, you may or may not recognize. And lastly, we're going to wrap up with David O. Sachs. Okay. He was the chief operating officer of PayPal, product leader. He's a South African. There's a bunch of South Africans too, by the way. Roll off both, Elon Musk, David Sachs. There's South Africans operating there too. He financed the movie Thank You for Smoking. He is the founder of Yammer. Microsoft acquired Yammer for $1.5 billion in 2012. And again, now I kept doing this math, because when these guys convert their stuff they get bought by a bigger company, and you get paid out in Microsoft stock. and or Google stock or whoever is doing the acquisition, I'm always curious to know, like, if you did nothing, what would your stake be worth by looking at what Microsoft was worth back then and looking at what it's worth now. And on a split adjusted basis, if you go back and look at the stocks, David O. Sachs would have received stock in Microsoft back in 2012 valued at about $32 a share. It is currently, adjusted for splits and everything, $328 a share. So he would have 10x'd his money in 11 years. And I don't know how much of that $1.5 billion he got for Yammer. Let's just say he got 11%, like Jeremy Stoppelman. He'd be in pretty good shape. He'd be worth over $1 billion by now. They've got his net worth, his estimated net worth at about 200 million plus, but these are always a little bit hard to determine, how much people have. He's the CEO of Zenefits, and he was an angel investor in, boy, I'll tell you what, this guy knows how to pick them. Okay, I want to just read off a list of the companies that this guy, David Sachs, Chief Operating Officer of PayPal, what he invested his money into all these years. As an angel investor, mind you, this is early stage. This is when you get the biggest bang for your buck. This is where the percentages are pretty low that you're going to hit a home run. So I'm going to read off about 10 of these and you're going to go, God damn. But remember, he probably put his money into 400 of these and they probably all fizzled. Most of them fizzled out. But when you're an angel investor, that's when you get those Peter Thiel type deals, 10% of Facebook for $500,000. So this is what David Sachs has invested in. God damn. I just looking at this list is crazy. Airbnb, Bird, Eventbrite, Facebook, Houzz, Palantir, Postmates, Rumble, Slack, SpaceX, Uber, Wish, Reddit, ClickUp, BitGo, SourceGraph, Pipe, SurveyMonkey, Scribd, and OpenDoor. I mean, he is gotta be loaded. You gotta be loaded after this, right? And interesting tidbit. I mentioned this earlier. A Republican Ron DeSantis supporter, enthusiastic Ron DeSantis supporter. So kind of like Ken Howery. Ken Howery's like, hey man, I'm the ambassador to Sweden, I mean, it's funny that some of the guys didn't really get too high on their own supply of leftism out there in the Bay Area. It's easy to do, but that's where we stand. That's the PayPal Mafia. I'll read it off again for you just in case. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Max Levchin, Reid Hoffman, David Sachs, Jawed Karim, Luke Nosek, Andrew McCormick, Ken Howery, Chad Hurley, Jeremy Stoppelman, Steve Chen, Roelof Botha, Russell Simmons, Scott Bannister, Dave McClure, Keith Rabois, Yoshin Wong, and Jason Portnoy. Man, I'll tell you, much like the actual Mafia, you probably wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of any of these people, especially the ones that have Defense Department ties. Almost all of the ones that went on to do something in the way of venture capital have World Economic Forum, Young Global Leader designations, which is bad. And they've all got a lot of money and they want to save the world, don't you know? It should be interesting, but keep your eyes on the PayPal Mafia because, if you turn your back on these people, you may actually be swimming with the fishes. If you like this episode, you can take the additional step right now of sharing it with your friends and family. If you want to connect with me, you can follow me on Twitter that Elon Musk owns at Macroaggressions. You can follow me on Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, at Macroaggressions Podcast. You can go to the website, theoctopusofglobalcontrol.com. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you again soon.